I already asked them. They're supposed to get back to me.
Yeah, they've been trying to get after you for 2 years or 3 years or not.
No, I asked them. I asked them for the compelling reason, so.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
This is Councilman Kaskotowski with, I think, Garrison Keeler.
He's hiding.
And this might be, what is that, Little House on, not Little House on Prairie, what is that, Prairie Home Adventure?
Prairie Home something.
Companion?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's actually my friend. What's your name again?
DJ. DJ. I also have a drinking problem, so I have some water.
Yeah,
some
I
tea.
can see that you need fluids badly.
I do. I've been spending a lot of time outside.
You got to get one of those things where you put the bottle on top and the straw, come
No,
down.
I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah, that looks cool, doesn't you think?
I got a nice one in my car. Straw
Those things
hat.
are so
So
stupid.
are you going
Come
fishing
on.
or what?
No, I've been getting outside a lot.
Are you going fishing for the truth?
I was on a boat this weekend. I rented a fishing boat, and I just went cruising around the bay.
Did you catch anything?
I didn't fish, no. I just drove around because I wanted to see what it was like.
How is it?
It was cool. It was really fun. I enjoyed it.
The view is nice at night.
It was so nice. I was taking pictures of everything. It was great.
You want to take a nice cruise, you go on that, take the one out at the peninsula too, late at night.
Oh, yeah, the Victorian
Sunset-
Princess.
Oh, well, that one and the Sunset Cruise too.
The
they're
Lady
both nice.
Kate.
Yeah.
See, I know these things because I get around.
You do get around.
Who are you?
Ron Stemka.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure I didn't.
Yeah, I'm ready to, as a source of revenue, not for the city, but for all the people that have been hurt in accidents involving cell phones.
Yeah.
I am amazed coming down to work today. Oh,
Yeah.
people fall asleep at the light. They're walking across the street through 3 red lights while they saunter, and they're talking on the phone. I'm
I'm not
going,
paying attention to you. I'm busy doing my.
absolutely. What is wrong with people? One lady gave me I honked at the lady to wake her up, and she gave me the finger.
Said you were number one, huh?
Yeah, and I wasn't number one either, but man,
Oh, Kaz.
it's crazy.
Okay.
So what?
The viaduct, let's start on that one. What's going on with that?
There's many things going on, but the group, Lisa Austin, her group, they've had a couple events there.
I was there this weekend.
Which one were you at?
I was at the bridge party on Saturday. I think it was Saturday.
That's not the poetry reading.
That was the poetry reading, yeah.
Oh, there's another
I
one
was-
coming up too, I think.
I'll see if I can go to that, but I
I
have
thought there was. Maybe I'm getting them confused, but I thought she had like a couple events planned.
It was kind of a mix of both. It was kind of everybody getting together, and if anybody had anything they wanted to say or read.
They get a good crowd.
There was a pretty good crowd. There was 20 people or so.
But to
it
put
was
sense-
intense, and it was good.
To tell Ronnie, nothing's going to happen
Yeah.
until the state. Okay, the decision's pretty much been made. Okay.
Tear it down.
Right, so the state now is going to put, they are you can go on there's a McBride site that the state is running that'll keep you up to date on drawings, about the intersection at Buffalo Road, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But, barring, and the only hope I think this group has is they would have to outright take control of this bridge from the city. And that means, in my mind, that would mean everything from insurance to, maintenance and everything.
Who would back that, though?
Huh?
Who would pay for that funds?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, I don't see, like I say, I wasn't here when the decision was made. I would have been a proponent to keep the bridge, but now that we've made the decision through an act of government, and whether we want to agree that the process was fair or flawed, the decision's been made, it's down to pipeline, the money's been allocated by the Commonwealth. So if you turn around now, you're going to pay for all that, okay? So just bear in mind that, go ahead, caller.
I'll let you finish your thought.
Pardon? Oh, go ahead. I can come back to it.
Oh, okay. I heard the a little bit before the live show started about that Jim Clem.
Yes.
And he's still down there, huh?
He had a 2-year contract, ma'am, and I can't remember. I'm trying to remember if it ends in September of this year or what, but he was given $1,000 a month for 24 months.
Yeah, does he have to punch in a time clock or something, or
Not to my knowledge. He's,
how do we know we're getting our money's worth?
well, Mr. Barnes has asked for that report, and, I see him around here once in a while. I'm not here every day. Councilmen aren't full-time, so
Yeah.
I think if you were going to do that, you probably should have put him under the direction of someone,
I do agree with Randy Barnes. It is nice to give back. I worked in the private sector, and when I left, I still pitched in and helped my replacement. I'm free of charge. It's just something you do.
Well, yeah, I told people, when I took over as controller, Brenda Punt she called me into her office for about, now it was a little hard because I had some employment outside of there, but I would come in and she would, work with me. And then after she left, she was available either to come in or by phone to help me along. And I extended that same courtesy to Ms. Stankiewicz when she took over, and there was no bill that went to the city because that's just something you do. You do it because, that somebody did it for you. It's kind of like the old pay it forward.
You're either a good citizen or just a citizen, I guess.
Yeah, people today, we honor the wrong people sometimes. The little people that do little things like volunteering, we very rarely recognize them.
Yeah.
It's only the people with the big press clippings that get honored. But we get people every day that just go along and they do little people that do just little things like garden in front of their church,
Yeah.
pulling weeds somewhere,
Yeah. I just following up on a couple of things that I called about earlier this summer and just wondering if anything's happening on them. And the one idea we had where you come up with a citizens group just to kick around ideas. I wonder if anything's happening on that.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get that going. I'm going to try to sit down with some of my colleagues and see if they're agreeable to it. And that would be the best way to start it. It'd be nice if the administration and council did that together.
Right, exactly.
So that's something I'm going to suggest, and we'll be having a change in government here in a year or so.
I hope we do.
So maybe, there'll be some fresh ideas, but I think we have to, because the more I go around town and listen to people, the people that are, you want to know, okay, why are you leaving? Why, nobody ever asks business people why they don't come into Erie. I remember the famous story. I made a comment at a public meeting once. I said, I often wondered why Mr. Scott never opened up any businesses in Erie. And I said, I have a funny feeling maybe nobody's ever talked to him. And he come up to me after the meeting and he goes, yeah, you're absolutely right, young man. And I said, you read about other towns, they will actually go proactively after businesses and say, what does it take to get you here? And why don't you come down? You're reading things now like people don't want to come here because of the climate of the crime or things like that. So we don't even know. We're guessing at why people don't live here or people don't want to move here. I've heard people tell me they don't want to move to a certain part of town because that's what they read on the news. And yeah, we need to sit down, not only with the newspapers, with the what do you call it, the people that promote Erie.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm leaving Erie. It's too depressing. I don't care what neighborhood you go into. Nobody is taking care of their homes anymore.
No, you're absolutely right, ma'am. I look at my area, which I think is still a nice part of the city. And you got one house that's been torched for a year and a half. You got another house that's abandoned right on 38th Street. You have properties that, and I hate to pick on the kids, but the college kids run them down. Oh. And every night you look at couches appear at all parts of the city. Cars are parked all over sidewalks, front lawns.
Take your time.
Weeds are growing like out of control. And you wonder what a stranger would think if he drove down through our town.
Yeah, I know what they think. And I'm so disappointed in our mayor. I don't care what.
Well, I think somebody's got, like I said one time, we have to take a first step somewhere. I mean,
We gotta find a direction, what we gotta
well,
find.
that's part of the problem. We have studies, but we don't listen to them. And then, they get shelved and dust collects on them and mold. But somewhere you got to make the first step. Otherwise, they always say in the Army, the first step in the battle is the first step,
Well, you're talking about first step. This is my second question, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about first step. Practice what you preach now, Casby.
I'm going to, and I said I'm going to get together with my colleagues and
No, here's my second question.
Yeah.
My idea of having a centralized drop-off location, because fall's coming around, and there are going to be tons of leaves on the ground, and people aren't going to have the equipment to make sure that their yards are raked up properly and all this and that. And what came of my idea about having a centralized location to drop off used garden equipment? Has that gone any further?
oh, you mean, yeah, you did tell me. You know what? I let that slip. So I'm guilty.
No, but I
But-
wrote that one down because I'm actually approaching a group that I'm working
Oh,
with.
you are?
And I'm trying to get a building so that we can have...
So people can go and get these
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah, we need a location so that I can move my group into it and then actually do exactly what you called about.
Maybe Mr. Griffin has one or something.
I put letters out to a lot of the local realtors, and I've not gotten any response yet, so I'm still waiting for somebody to have a little charity and give us a location so we can house the tools.
Maybe the city can do it down in Marsh Street or something too.
That would be fantastic. I just need to know who to talk to.
Let's finish up here. Thank you 1,000 times, DJ. I appreciate your effort, and I hope you are successful in getting this done. It would be a very unique thing, and it would be a great asset to the city. So,
Hey, I listened to you. I took your call to heart, and I wrote it down, and I said, I'm going to see what I can do.
thank you.
Yeah, we want you to get credit too, though, ma'am.
Yes.
No, I don't want credit. I just want to see a nice, clean city once more before I leave.
Hitting that down to Mark, a couple of churches were taking walks the other day through the city, and they were actually like cleaning up their neighborhoods.
Wasn't that Mercyhurst or?
It was actually St. John Holy Rosary.
There was college kids doing that too. They took
Yeah.
up buses and they tried to clean the city up.
Yeah, the big one I hear, ma'am, is Buffalo Road is on 18th Street is one of the worst areas. Are you there, ma'am? Oop. Yeah, they say that's a bad,
Yeah.
that's been cleaned up so many times. That, you know what's amazing? You'll watch people, volunteers cleaning up an area,
Yeah.
and somebody right behind them is throwing a...
Yeah, it's...
I was in a parking lot of Walmart. I always laugh at this. They buy their oil, they change it in the parking lot, then
Sure,
they leave
and
it.
then just-
Well, they don't throw it on the ground. They stack it up on the light pole.
Yeah.
Like that makes a difference, Yeah, this woman's absolutely right. It's
It's a throwaway society, and everybody just wants to throw their stuff
well,
away.
nobody cares. I
wherever
mean,
they are.
I was riding around town. I was looking at the weeds, and I'm just going, what has happened that, we don't care anymore,
Yeah,
We just don't care.
apathy.
And I think a lot of people say, I'm not fighting this. I'm putting my house up for sale, and I'm out of here.
Well, there's no jobs in this town. Tell me one good job that came in this town, good paying job. None.
What has been very limited, like Ron John, when they came in,
Well, that's a basic, fast food, basic.
No, Ron John is at,
Not Long John Silver's, Ron John. The
they
boat.
were looking for like well-trained welders, underwater welders, all that.
I'm thinking, what the hell is he talking about?
But you know what, though? I mean, we're turning them out. A lady told me over at Central, a female teacher, she can get a job for any welder, that passes the course. But, there's few. Go ahead, caller.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
I know John has complained about this. I called about 2 years ago about all these dead trees on 38th Street. Last week, there was a couple big branches on the boulevard.
Yeah.
And another thing is, they better do something with parking on one side of the street on East Avenue between 38th and Pine Avenue, because there's a lot of college kids up there.
Wait, East 38th, right?
Oh, no, on East Avenue
Oh, on East Avenue.
from 38th to Pine Avenue, going up the hill.
Ah, okay.
There's a lot of college kids in there now. They park the wrong way on the street, and when there's two cars opposite one another, one car can only get through at one time.
I live right up by there, and I don't take that road, but is that one way? Is that parking on one side or two side?
Two sides.
You know what? For some reason, and council has asked a traffic engineer, I'm going to have to check on that because Councilman Mirsky and I put a resolution in, and we wanted the traffic engineer to study all the roads on the east side of Erie in the vicinity of the college concerning that situation, like Briggs, Lewis, East Avenue, Lake Pleasant, Old French, all of them.
Right.
She may be waiting. I'm going to check with her. I don't know if she's waiting for the kids to come back, which then she can, track it, because during the summer you don't get a true picture. But we've had complaints. Briggs is one that comes up all the time. East Avenue, that's we haven't heard, but I think as the kids are moving further east now.
Yep. Because if once them snow plows go further out into the snow piles,
Right.
further out into the street,
Yeah, we'll never get a fire truck up there.
you can't hardly get a car through there sometimes last year.
Yeah, we're going to have to, part of the problem is, and we've got a little, Councilman Mirsky and I have got a little traction on this. Every time we bring this up about there's more than the number of people legally inhabiting those houses, we get dead-ended. Nobody wants to do anything.
Yep, 900 block on East 38th Street, back to square one.
Yep, and did you see that one house there?
Yes, I do.
I finally
Every time I go by there.
I finally got them to cut the lawn on that. It looks the lawn's cut, but the building is terrible, right?
Yep.
Because I told him, I said, last week, I said, man, that looks disgusting. I said, and I was gone for a couple of weeks, so that thing kind of grew up, and when I come back and I go, but you're right, the 800, and did you see what happened in the paper in the realty section?
I did. That one guy bought, what does he have, about eight properties.
Well, Doherty and Johnson control most of the properties they're the biggest, property owners there.
Well, the one must have changed the name to some property.
Yeah, Laker LLC.
Boy, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was just in Saturday's paper, right? Or the last realty one, right?
No, I think it was Friday's paper.
Yeah, I saw that. He took his properties and made them an LLC.
What does that mean?
That means they become they're like a limited corporation.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not a lawyer and I don't pretend to be one, but I think what that means is if something happens, you can't sue him as an individual. You have to sue the corporation.
Oh, okay.
But then other people are asking me this question. When it said Laker LLC, Laker Properties, is the college involved? Interesting question.
Yep.
Nobody knows for sure. And I'm going to do some research into it. I'll try to find out, who they got listed, but this could be, I hope this isn't like what Vincent did where they bought property under different guises. Remember that? And then all of a sudden you woke up one morning and they owned half the block?
I know the parking authority would have a field day up on Briggs and Lewis. Are parked on both sides of the road.
Well, actually, now what happened there, I want to tell you. I'm a liaison to the parking authority. I brought that up, and they explained their problems. One of their problems is that we, as a city, do not reimburse them for going out late at night or on weekends. And in the old days, they did that. They had red and blue cars at one time. Red cars were like inner city, blue cars I think were inner city, red cars were on the outskirts. And everybody had coverage. But they are willing to go up into that neighborhood, and they are meeting with council. We already had one preliminary meeting, and their chairman, their director, Mr. Massing, is going to put together some numbers for us, and it's going to be part of a whole comprehensive parking plan entailing new parking meters, meters that are capable of doing credit card transactions and everything. So he will be getting back to us, and Briggs is one of those things on the agenda. So I'll keep you informed, okay, sir?
Okay. Have a good day.
Yeah, so it's not a dead issue, but both parties are studying it, And if there's some way we can help them financially, where they can send people out on the weekends when, the police are obviously busy with other stuff.
I know I called last year about East Avenue going up the hill. Nothing's been done, so
Who'd you call, the police or the parking authority?
I called you guys.
Oh, me, Bobby and I.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not getting any, I'm not making excuses, but we're not getting any support from, hardline support from the administration. I mean, we want to see some fines, we want to see some charges. This problem's been going on too long, and I've been watching a lot of people leave the neighborhood slowly.
Yep.
And one of them was real close to me, and I had to watch and say goodbye.
Yep. Okay, then I'll let you guys, somebody else call.
But thank you.
Have a good day.
Too.
Okay, how about water authority now?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, caller. You got to turn down your TV.
Hello, Cash.
Yeah. Turn down your TV.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's what I'm doing. There it goes.
Sounds like E.T. going back.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Led Zeppelin concert.
Well, you might as well say you got a good conduction there.
There you go.
Hey, actually, it's the first time I ever get you. A cable company finally connected me so I can get back to the box again.
Nice.
For 3 weeks, I couldn't get you.
What did they say was a problem?
Huh?
What did they say was a problem? DJ's curious.
They for the third time, they had me, disconnect my box, which I did, and plugged it back in, went through the reloading and everything, and this time it finally took it. I was able to get you on TV. A couple of things, Kaz. One is, I know it's early in the season, but I hope the mayor is going to look at some way of addressing the homeless issue for this winter. Someplace to put them, so we don't get that tent city belt back up again that they had on the railroad. And I had a question concerning the sale of the water, lines here in Mill Creek. If we own them, if they belong to the city, I guess I don't know how they were owned by the city, but yet they say it's city property. But why are we paying $22 million for something that we technically own?
No, you don't own them. What you're buying, I'm going to plead.
Come on, tell them.
Wait a minute.
Listen.
How do we own that? Wait, Ronnie,
No, go on.
the way I understand it, we are buying the assets of the Mill Creek Water Authority.
Right.
Okay? 'Cause for years, Mill Creek has two. Are you still there, Doc?
I'm there. I'm listening to you.
Yeah. For what I understand is, when we extended water out to Mill Creek, okay, we own those lines.
Right.
Okay, and I don't know if we, going back, and I wasn't a councilman, I was a young man, I could get, worried about water on the suburbs when I was 16 was something I didn't worry about, okay? But the way I understand it was, when we were court ordered to push the water out there, okay, the pipes were built, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, because like I say, speaking from what I understand, there was monetary expenses on both sides. Mill Creek had to put the lines in, we had to give them the water, all that.
Right, and I thought we provided the plumbing too for the water, the pipes and stuff.
Well, what happened was when Mill Creek expanded parts of Mill Creek, they laid piping. They had to pay for, I think, the piping, the footage of it. They had to put it in, I think, to our specs, and then we had to pump the water out there. We were court ordered. However, at the time, and it's still there, Mill Creek has another water system, the Mill Creek system, which is independent of the city. And I don't remember if they get their water from wells or they buy bulk water from the city.
Okay.
But those lines,
But they still do or not, I don't know.
but those lines do not belong to the city. Those are Mill Creek lines, okay? So what we're basically doing is when they join us, they are selling us what they think is the value of their system that exists now underground. And if you remember, Paul Wojtek said their number was more like 8.7, okay? Mill Creek had 22, and they decided, they arbitrated somehow, but the mayor's not happy because he doesn't think the system is worth that much.
I would agree with the mayor there because
Right.
that's what I've.
Well, even Paul Voigt,
yeah. Come
yeah.
up with a higher figure if the assessment was for lower.
But the problem is when you form these authorities, they become their own entity.
Correct.
Now, what they can't do, there are certain things like when they're talking about the makeup of the board, okay, we are the government body that set them up.
Right.
So, it would have to come through us. The mayor was even unsure, and I'm sure he has his legal people looking at it, whether we have any say in the authority buying assets.
Okay.
Now, the problem is going to be that, once we absorb those assets, now they're going to be, for good or bad, if something goes wrong, there's a proportionate, what the public, some people know this, that proportionally, all the people involved in the systems that are hooked onto the water have to pay proportionally a cost of that system.
Correct.
And that's been arbitrated through court. I'm trying to think. Many years ago, they wrote contracts up and had them. They went through arbitration, and that's what they decided on. And they've been hesitant to reopen those agreements. Every time it's suggested by council, they become very hesitant.
Now, how far in debt will water department be in?
When they do this,
We do this and what they have, because they put $40 million in the Summerheim.
well, we'll have to.
project.
When the numbers will come out,
You'll
we
be
can
coming
release
out
them.
with about probably 60, 70 million when they get done.
Well, the question is going to be, and Paul Wojtek said he didn't believe that was a good number, but
Well, didn't we were talking about a couple months ago? Now, they assume the water department, now Mill Creek has to pay a sewer bill of $10 million into the city, don't they? Remember we were talking about that a couple months ago? When he brought this all up? Mill Creek would have to pay the city $10 million for the sewer department.
Well, I think part of this thing won't
This will
tell
come
us.
into the city's coffers, and they can basically do what they want then.
Yeah, so
That's
part
it.
of the water is going to come back into the city, so. And I think it will, council hasn't really been privy to all these, because it doesn't involve us yet, but I'm sure we'll ask some questions.
But $10 million is a lot of money.
One of my questions will be this, Kaz, and maybe, I don't know if they've looked into it this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, the federal government set up some kind of territorial lineage that anything from I-90...
Oh, that's the Watershed Act.
That's the Watershed Act.
Yeah, we are not legally bound to, well, it gets a little tricky.
I mean, technically, they can't use Lake Erie water there.
Well, they can't be, Doc, people will fight on this. The way I think the law reads is they cannot pump water past the watershed. Okay? What it doesn't say is about selling water bulk to, let's say, Waterford or Cambridge Springs. I don't know if that's permissible.
That's a long haul.
Yeah, but you know what? For people that are out of water, if you looked at a situation like in California, there was one time a movement that Northern California wanted to secede from Southern California because Northern California had all the water. You go to a town like Roanoke, you do not get your water from near Roanoke. You get it from Smith Mountain Lake or someplace. And it's like a long haul, okay? Because some of them, like that's why when you go on I-80 and you see Chesapeake Watershed, okay, the reason why they have these rules is if everybody tapped in, you could drain the lake.
That's right.
You laugh, but you could drain a lake, hypothetically. Do you remember, Doc, you were around, remember? We were probably again and when the environmental age hit. They were talking about running a pipeline from, where was it, Lake Erie to somewhere, remember?
That's towards California. California needed water.
Well, it wasn't going that far, but it was going to go like to a station somewhere.
Right, and then they direct the water from there out that way.
And the Canadians went nuts.
They did.
Yeah, they did. We forget that that's not just our lake, We only own one lake entirely, okay? But yeah, I mean, there's problems, but yeah, I don't know, they can't. I read some in the paper that got my attention. It said something about they were going to sell water to somebody outside the watershed, I thought. So I'm going to go back and read that and see if I read it right.
I don't know. See, when I took environmental law,
Yeah.
and back in the 70s, and I got probably about 5 books, about 4 inches thick each, with
Yeah.
all the Clean Water Act, information and stuff. And there was something about where you can and cannot sell the water, but that could have been changed. Because I'm talking back to the 70s. So what, did they change those rules on that?
Yeah, but I do know you can't pump water because we asked that question one time and somebody said, I think the line is just past Summit or something, right? I don't even think it includes Waterford. Would I be right, Doc, or wrong?
Be right. You could be right on that.
It doesn't include Waterford, I don't believe.
I don't think they do. No, Waterford has its own source, I think, that they use.
I think it just goes a little past Summit, the watershed, and that's it then.
Because it goes so far over the ridge there, then.
Yeah, because we got a shallow lake, number one.
Yep.
It's not like it's Lake Superior,
I don't know how many people know the miles and miles of roadway under the lake that is being created mining the salt that's under Lake Erie. From flow down through all that, there's 1,000 miles of roadway under the lake, and they have monitors down there that if there's a slight earthquake, they evacuate that area because there's always a possibility of if an earthquake should open a seam there, water out of Lake Erie drain right down into the roadways.
Is that like tunnels where they have trucks going through there?
Yeah, your Morton salt comes out of the Buffalo, Syracuse area.
Oh, I never, you know what, I heard that, but...
And they're mining it from under the lake. So that's why the road salt comes out of Cleveland area, Cleveland, Ohio area. That's from where they're getting the road salt from that area. So there's a lot of salt under the lake areas here.
How deep are they?
Pardon?
How deep they go?
I don't know how deep they go, but I know they tell me that roughly about 1,000 miles of roadway underneath where trucks drive in there to get the salt. Wow. But yeah, that's why we never seem to, when we run out of road salt, it's amazing that we do, but all the salt we're over.
Well, for years, yeah, they used to, Daniel Dobbins was a salt trader.
And that's how you got started at the port where salt was taken and shipped inland to Fort LaBeouf, and then by French Creek to Allegheny and taken down to Pittsburgh. Wow. That's what they used to do. They put it in barrels, and from what I understand too, if you study the history of the old French road and that was the road that the French took the salt down to Fort LaBeouf, and then they would barter with the Indian tribes along the route that the Creeks took, that they would give them a keg of salt to allow them the passage. So they always bartered with salt with the Indians. Even Palmatumine.
Yep.
I mean, when they before it was created in a lake, it was a marshy area where they would boil that water to get the salt out of that water. And the old settlers would let the Indians borrow their big iron kettles that they would put the water in, and the Indians would return the kettles, and they'd be salt lined. The salt that they were that were left on the inside of the kettles.
Wow.
Hey, thanks for calling, Doc.
Yeah.
Hey,
very interesting.
You don't have a landline number anymore, right?
Yeah, I do.
Funny, I can't find it. I tried 411, they don't have it.
Well, I got a landline. I'll give it to you.
Well, I'll tell you,
It's
my
in the-
number, give me a call so I can record it, and then I can call you off when you're off air, because
Yeah, when somebody told me you called me, I checked there was no messages, because that phone has a bigger message bank than my cell phone does.
well, I tried to call you before for something else, but
Yeah, I'm still a holdout with the old system.
okay, well, yeah, because I got a website now. I want you to take a look at, see how you feel about it.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
All right, yeah, give me a call back. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Doc.
Take care, both of you. Behave there.
Thanks for calling.
Yep,
That was
thanks
really
for calling.
informational.
Yep, I'll be in someday to sit with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come on up.
I don't want to scare the public saying that, gee, I don't want to watch that channel anymore.
There you go.
Come on.
Well, there are people who are afraid of Santa, believe it or not.
Oh, whatever. Forget them.
DJ still wants what he didn't get when he was a kid.
Oh, I don't care.
Well, he wasn't behaving at that time.
No, I wasn't.
He didn't get that. He didn't get that air rifle.
I admit it.
You'll shoot your eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out.
See it, Doc.
All right. Take care. God bless you.
You too.
So do you want, which question you want answered, the water or the bridge? Go ahead, caller.
No, they're $10 million.
Go ahead, caller. Hello?
Hello.
Somebody's on there. Hello?
Hi, Cass.
Yeah, there you go.
How you doing?
Go ahead.
Still the call this a couple weeks ago, the weeds at Boys Club, East Lake Road.
Yeah, I turned it in. They didn't take care of that yet?
No.
Well, fear not. I mean, I'm going to get on them because the next door to my yard, I got weeds too, and they haven't got to that.
It's about time to snow.
Well, I know that. What the Boys Club? I'll go upstairs right after here and tell them again.
Yep, it's right over the curb. I mean, they're cutting, it's the part between the sidewalk and the road. They're cutting that part, but they can't get their mower, right over the curb, so they're just neglecting those weeds, and the weeds are 4 foot high.
Yeah, they need to get the weed whacker in there.
Yeah, get the weed whacker out, or, be proactive and spray some Roundup there in, like May or June, and you'll take care of it for the summer.
I really think we need to start, not much, just find a few people and put in a newspaper. That might solve some of it.
So, Kaz, especially them. I mean, they're not...
Well, a lady come up to me one time, getting back to what you said. I had to call about the redevelopment authority. The one gentleman that comes to council meetings, Mr. McDonald, I think it was, was complaining about trees that were hanging over the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And redevelopment owned it. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's the ones like that.
Yeah, government agencies and...
Could take care of their own, but they're not. They're not.
I will go up. In fact, remind me when I'm done here. I got to go upstairs, so we'll tell them again.
You mentioned Brenda Pund. Whatever happened to her?
I don't see her much. I see her every once in a while at a few functions around, public.
Okay.
But she seems okay. I talked to her. She's kind of keeping a low profile, though.
Yeah. Well, I know she had the flop with over her pension or something years back.
Yeah, that was there was a problem there, but she's put a lot of time in, and I think she just wants to enjoy, I think she has grandchildren now and everything, so she just wants to have what everybody else has, she's done her time in hell, as they say,
Yeah.
But, I see her once in a while in, different places, just not as much as I used to.
And one more thing, yeah, she did the sweep, the DUI sweep.
Yeah, I saw that in the
they ought to start doing that probably once a month around here, Kaz. There are so many vehicles that, I believe there's probably a third of the people in Erie are driving without insurance.
I would believe you. What's amazing is...
They get insurance for the month from whomever, the cheapest rate they could get. They get their car inspected, and then they forget about paying it.
Just during...
Told that they got to be able to take care of that for.
We were talking with the... when we were having those Merciers meetings, the LCB they would come in periodically and do bars and stuff, but I think you're right about the cars, because when I was working at when I was working years ago at the Civic Center part-time, while I was working for the Parking Authority, you would see people come in and they would have like cocktails in their car carriers.
Yeah.
Visibly intoxicated. I'm going, do you really want to be out here when they leave?
Well, you sure got a lot of them over the weekend, didn't
But this gentleman's right, though. I mean...
Yeah.
It's the drinking and driving, it's the unregistered vehicles, there's no insurance.
I think it comes down to...
That's a good idea that they do.
You hate to say manpower, but, obviously when your policemen are dodging shootings every night, and that doesn't leave a lot of time for other stuff, and the state police, they don't, they made this big push, but I think you're right. If they hired a few more agents and funded them through the fines they collect, it's not about making money on this. It's about, pay the guys that have to do this, but take people off the street. How many times you see people getting killed by drunk drivers or uninspected cars or...
Yeah. and one more thing before I go. Any update on you guys doing the Cat TV thing tonight, the live show?
We got to get together on that.
Yeah, we've been talking with the board, and it's going to be. I'm a board member now, so
Wow.
Yeah, we're actually trying to get. I've talked to DJ about going on, and
We just got to get our schedules to come together.
there might be a financial problem too, so we'll have to.
Good thing during the winter, because there's limited stuff to watch on TV anyhow. So
Well, the problem we will have is when I do the show here, the young man that runs the board is he's in the IT department, and this is part of his duties. If I go over with DJ, ever since the city cut their cord, I'm going to have to find some way to finance it. So
Got to find a crew.
yeah, what we're
People
kind of doing now is figuring out who would. That'd be probably less a problem. Is there would be a financial cost. So I'm trying to figure out if I can. I've been looking around and seeing who might be willing to subsidize it.
How about Channel 54?
What?
Subsidize some of this stuff that you do here.
Oh, we could have a telephone, but these are things that.
What do you think?
Are you still there, sir?
We'll talk.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful not to step on the toes of Cat TV because they're doing a great job, trying to make up the funding deficit. Well, they are.
We're trying.
Yeah, I mean, why you got to be careful that I don't, But we're trying to work out the details of how to make the show work. Because obviously in the old days it would have been a no-brainer. We could
Yeah,
have.
I mean, he'd come in, I'd throw a switch, and we'd just go on. But
Yeah, so now with the.
we need people now.
Yeah, but the city's cut their budget drastically. So.
Where would that money go to? Back into the fund?
Well, yeah, it went back in the general budget.
With this $10 million coming up, we can have.
Wait, this gentleman's not done. You're still there, sir?
yeah, I'll let you guys go. Let somebody else talk.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm willing to do the show. It's just going to be finding a sponsor and.
And a co-host, because I'm not going to co-host. I'm sorry. I
Yeah, you can't, right?
can't work with you. Whoa! I didn't even know he hung up.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Kaz. Two quick things. First off, who are the two fellows next to you? I thought that I came in late to the show.
Oh, one is DJ Barker here. We call him Garrison Kyler today. He's brought his hat in from the old house on the prairie.
Got my little hat.
And we got Ronnie Stemka here on the other side.
I was going to say, it looks like he just got back from fishing.
That's what he was talking about. He's
I was out on the lake this weekend. I was having a blast.
the only thing is that if the country depended on his catch, we'd be in trouble.
You starving?
Well, as long as you're out there having fun, I guess that's all that matters. But anyway, I don't know when I read about it. They're talking about these roundabouts they want to put in.
Yeah, so far there's one being talked about in the city.
Where?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, they want one out on the airport.
Well, go ahead. What's your question?
Well, I'm wondering. Well, where's the roundabout they're thinking about putting in?
In the city?
Yeah.
Everybody admits that there is a problem at the State Street and Bayfront Highway intersection. It's kind of like a no man's land. It's not pedestrian friendly, and it kind of is like they want to narrow it down a little bit because it fits in with what they want to do down in the lower dock areas, bring business down there.
Well, narrow it down. You need to widen it up.
Well, if they do that, what they mean by narrowing it is that if they had a roundabout, here we go again with, we haven't, there's no drawings yet on this. There's a concept that they want to have a 2-lane roundabout down there, so instead of the 1 lane that they have out in, but this is all being talked about. It hasn't been okayed. It's a concept that because the state runs that highway down there now. So this is one of their theories to how they can help that in, because you go down there now, it's a mess. Back traffic is backed up, and it's not very pedestrian friendly. So they're trying to see how can we make it pedestrian friendly and still move the traffic. But the roundabout is one of the things they're talking about.
With a roundabout, I mean, you sit at that. If you got a green light there, if you're coming down State Street at 4 o'clock during rush hour heading north, you sit at that light on 2nd Street there, You sit there between 2 or 3 light cycles before you can go through because the cars are just backed up.
Right, and they're claiming, and I've seen roundabouts in other cities, but never the big ones, like the 2-lane ones.
Yeah.
They claim, and I have no proof, I'd like to see one operating. They claim that with a roundabout, traffic keeps moving, albeit slow, but no one really doesn't move.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to the Disney World. You're moving, but you're moving at a slow rate. But at least you're moving.
I think that's a great idea.
But I don't know, I hope if they come up with one, I'd like to see one in operation, a big one.
I'm not sure what the best solution is.
No, and I don't think anybody does. I think there's a road where I think they're surprised. Everybody's surprised. I don't know why. When you build a road like the Bayfront Highway, and all of a sudden you're shocked at the numbers that take it. Well, there's not many roads that go through Erie that you can make time on.
How about Glenwood Park Avenue? That's the biggest joke ever.
And that's because certain people didn't want that road expanded, and they decided not to fight the neighbors. Otherwise, that was supposed to be a lot different.
It would have been a lot better and a lot faster.
But go ahead, sir.
Well, that's about it. But I'm talking about the Bayfront. You're saying you get from one end of the city to the other. Well, they screwed up when now they put that light right there at Liberty Park.
Well, I mean, it's not perfect, but I find that if I come from the east side of town, I can cross town a little quicker on that road than I can going over 12th Street or some at the same time of day. It's still faster, even though they slowed it down.
Yeah.
They really slowed it down, but now I'm going 20 miles an hour instead of 35.
And remember this, when they get done with the Buffalo Road interchange, the 18th Street one over there, on the east side, that'll slow that down even more too. Because, that's going to, when McBride goes down, that's you're going to have, I believe, you'll have the Broad Street and Buffalo Road down on that side of town. But right now, if you come down like from 38th and McClellan, you got a long ways before you hit a light.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Broad Street, but really you don't have a lot of lights until you get down
12th Street.
Yeah, down to the Bayfront.
I'll be intrigued to see what they come up with. So.
Yeah, we all are. There's so many things in the preliminary stage. They approach us a long time going, this is one of their things, but there's nothing concrete yet. We haven't seen any drawings. In fact, they mentioned in the paper the other day that they threw out the roundabout that was going to be on Millfair and 5.
They threw that out.
Yeah, but they're keeping the one on, where is it, Millfair and... Which one are they? The one on Millfair is going, the other one they're building, and then,
There's one on 38th and there's one on 12th Street.
But when it happens, sir, I'm sure they'll have a lot of, we'll have things down here at City Hall, the drawings and everything.
All right, sounds good. Have a good day.
Yeah, I like the idea of a roundabout down there.
You do.
You don't even get a chance to hang that up.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, John Reitinger.
Yes.
Hey, I looked it up. That Laker Properties LLC is our friend, Mr. Doherty.
Okay, so he's not, some people thought maybe Mercer's was involved.
No, it's a registered LLC. If you go to the Department of State with Pennsylvania, and it comes up his address in McCain.
My thought process was he's doing it, correct me if I'm wrong, he's doing it so that legally he's less approachable, right?
Yeah, probably. As an LLC, he wouldn't be personally liable.
Yes, if these college kids say you see kids up on top of the roof of his houses, partying up there, and you had the one case where the deck fell on that property up by my house.
Oh, yeah.
So he's probably saying, this is safe. I mean...
Yeah, enforcing some, barrier anyway of protection.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought, but I didn't think Mercer's really wanted to be into the...
No, I don't think they'd want that liability either. Yeah.
No, because then their policemen would have to go in there, and they don't want that either.
Right. That's all I wanted. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, I was gonna give you a call because I know you could lead me down where to find out.
Yeah. Yep. I'm still waiting. I've got. I turned in 37 complaints here a couple of weeks ago to code enforcement. So.
Yeah, that one guy, and he had a good point. I turned in like the one at Buffalo, the boys club and stuff. They're just not. I mean, next door to my house, I got weeds hanging. and I ain't making this up, six, well, you remember, John, I used to show you
Been
pictures.
there.
The young kid that, he cuts my lawn because he needs a few bucks,
Yeah.
and he can't cut it no more. There's like 7-foot weeds hanging down in my yard.
Yeah.
Now, I guess I got to go out there with a machete to cut them.
I've got that too next door to me. I don't.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. You said it right, John?
What?
They're just not very proactive.
Oh, not at all. It hasn't been for quite some time.
I mean, I plan on when we get to budget time, I'm going to start asking why the revenue's not increasing. I mean, I drive around town.
Yeah, but I just got done trying you. 10 million would come to our coffers. We bought that up a couple months ago.
That goes to the money in the... John,
Yeah.
are you done?
Oh, yeah, well, like I was going to say, like the mayor says, it is what it is.
Yep.
Take care.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Bye.
That 10 million would go to the sewer authority.
Right, but they put that into the...
Huh?
They could put that into the mutual fund or into a regular fund.
Well, nobody's against it.
No, the city's going to make out 10 million in the budget.
We're talking.
Go ahead, caller.
You were talking about roundabouts.
Well, the one gentleman brought it up, and I said,
They're not pedestrian friendly. They're just vehicle friendly.
yeah. Well, I think when you look at what they plan, John, and when the state was looking at that, every developer that's come into Erie and consultant has said that when you look at State Street and Bayfront Highway, the intersection is nothing more than a wide expanse of cars, shooting around, right?
Well, that's because they didn't plan it right.
Well, yeah, and that's what they're saying. They're saying, so how do we make it?
It's not going to take care of that.
What they want to do, I think, along with the roundabouts, I'm not saying I know because there's no drawings yet, but I'm sure they'll come up with the bump out theory, that they'll bring the sidewalks out further so that the people...
No, it'll put the pedestrian more harm than putting a regular crossing.
Well, what we probably should do is what we didn't get the last time. And it's all about, our political clout in Harrisburg. We need those bridges.
An annex will help. I was down in Connecticut, I was in Massachusetts, and they have roundabouts all over, and they have them the 2 and 3 different roundabouts going north, south, east, and west.
Do they work there, John?
They work fantastic. The cars are moving, and it's going great. You can take a ride down to Starbrook and Warren, and there's a pair of right down there. Where they want to go the other way, they get in a roundabout, they're going east or they're going west.
Well, that's what I say. I'd like to take a road trip,
Yeah, that's it. But I keep hearing this gentleman saying that Mill Creek owes the city $10 million for sewer. I think he's a little wet. Because the outlying areas, Harbor Creek, Northeast, Wesleyville, Mill Creek, all are going to get increases in their rates because the bond was approved. That's the only increase they're going to get on. They're not going to get any large sums of money. And you know that. Why didn't you just tell them?
Well, I was confused what he meant. Now, what do you mean? The sewers?
He thinks that the Mill Creek Township owes the city $10 million for their sewer bond, and it's not.
Well, that's what I thought was, and I talked to other people. And
Are they even hooked up to our system out there?
Well, I think they're hooked up, but it's like they pay so much per gallon.
Well, yeah, everybody on the system.
Right, and they were complaining out there was because they're going to get an increase in their sewer bills because they have to fund the bond, and automatically they can get the increase, but they cannot be charged more for sewer because the city, in their wise wisdom again, set the rates way back when and set a contract for a long time.
But if they're on the city system, what's going to happen is their sewers will now be proportional to their water usage.
Right.
So there could be...
There will be an increase in their sewer.
Yeah, there could be an increase that way.
That's it.
Yeah.
But as far as one lump sum, it's not going to happen.
Is that what you meant, one lump sum?
That's what he thought. They were going to get $10 million.
Well, last time you talked about they would do it over a couple of years.
What?
Give us the money for the sewer. We brought that up a couple months ago.
I don't remember the gist of the conversation, but he's right though, see, because like I said earlier, all those people pay proportionately in the way they were done, okay? If there are capital costs.
Right.
Okay, but in the case of the bill now, what do they do? John, are they on the city sewer right now, you think?
Oh, yes, they're on the city sewer, but they're paying a different rate.
Yeah, because they're not part of the system, though.
Right.
But now if they're part of the system...
Right, with the bond increase, it'll be added to their rate.
Yeah, and then, well, as they also would go under this same system we are, where you pay proportionally the water that goes in, so much goes out.
Right. That's why you have Pepicello out there in Harbor Creek, and I forget who's out in Northeast, and Wesleyville and Mill Creek. They were all irate because they had increased their sewage fee, and they didn't think that was right because they had no say in it. It's just like the mayor with not being happy with it going to the Mill Creek water system. Well, if he's not happy with it, why doesn't he disband the water authority and take it over?
We all know the reason why that's not going to happen.
Well, sure, but that's the whole thing. But if he thinks $22 million is too much...
Well, I think the problem is when you had a case that you had Mr. Wojtak saying, in the paper at least...
Well, he was quoting with, I forget who did the study on how much...
And that's why he said they all sat down in a room, and then when the various experts... experts always make me laugh because the same ones when you build an arena say that you're going to bring in, what do you call it?
Taller than you don't.
All this money into, you laugh, but it's kind of like when they say there's every time you look, there's 100,000 people at Celebrate Erie.
True.
Yeah, where's that number come from?
Yeah.
I mean, 100,000 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
It depends who's visualizing the crowd.
Well, yeah, I mean, so these experts come in and, they said 8 and Mill Creek said 22. And they claimed they settled in the middle. So what was Mill Creek asking for, 44? I don't know, but like I say, council wasn't privy to that because it's out of our domain right now yet.
Oh, true, but here's the thing. The Mill Creek Authority amended that, saying they wanted to get 2 members on the board. Now the supervisors are going to get rid of their authority.
Well, when you think about it, you don't really need them.
No.
Because now you have the water authority, and by charter, like it said in the paper, 3 people must be from outside the city.
True.
And what they're mad about is the mayor gets to pick those 3.
Well.
But that's the rule that was set up when they organized, and they want to guarantee it's going to be their people.
That's true.
But I know some of the characters involved.
Yes.
And they're interesting themselves.
Yep.
But no, I mean I don't think I can't speak for the rest of council, but I'm not in favor of giving up any seats.
No.
I mean Erie's getting relegated to what I call we're becoming irrelevant.
Now, you know what's going to happen? We're going to wind up paying higher rates. Water rates down the line and everything else.
There's no doubt when, the water authority can do what they want to do. They're out there and,
Did it before when when the people voted down fluoride?
Yep. And that was what, Battle 3 with fluoride?
Yes.
Because I still have pins. They actually had pins during the campaign season.
Yeah.
And they put like little tabs, no and yes.
Yeah. I want one of those.
Same pin guy made it.
True. But anyways, you're running out of time, but I want to mention one thing. I went over to East 38th Street.
Yeah.
I think Sunday morning, and there was beer cans all over, lead plastic can or cups, empty beer cases. It looked like a disaster.
Yeah, it's the opening season, they call it.
I think that the mayor ought to get a hold of his favorite governor down there in Harrisburg and nationalize or have the National Guard work weekends up here and do some of the enforcement.
Well, I got a couple phone calls, and the parties were really lit up. But they keep switching every year now. You know, one house is wild one year, and
The whole north side of 38th Street, like from, I want to say, Wayne to Parade Street Boulevard.
Yep.
From Pine Avenue all the way to East Avenue.
And you know what I was told?
All on the north side.
The backpacks do not carry books.
Straight. And I see that one place, 922, got cut. I don't know who cut it, but somebody did.
Well, I went up this, like when I was telling this gentleman, I went up there with a list last week, and I said, that looks terrible. I mean, that's right on East 38th Street. You know, that thing's obviously been there a while. To find out who the owner is, cut it. Well, they did get it cut, but, you know, my other travels, there's other fields and other...
Up the way a little bit. And in fact, there's a couple of city lots that need to be cut.
Well, you know, Mr. Vendetti finally, we don't have to worry about that now. It's going to be a car wash.
Yeah, that's coming along great, but he's using his own money, and
Well, that's Baldwin that bought it, I think, from him.
Baldwin bought it.
Yeah, but you know...
Niagara Car Wash is going to be there. At least we're going to get some money.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of driving over the street, though, and watching weeds after weeds, and cars parked. Down the bottom of my street, I just got greeted with the boarding houses back in operation.
Oh, boy.
So well, that's what that is. It's a legal boarding house. I checked it. You know, it fell into the old rules of the city, so...
You know, I know how we can get some revenue in the city.
How's that?
Well, we had the state police go out and shoot the people on the peninsula for speeding. Why don't we just have them come on 38th Street, east and west, and have them shoot for a while down there?
That's why I'm surprised they don't. There's a bill pending that they're going to allow local policemen. I don't know if it's still, you know, what the status of it is, but there's been movement to allow local police departments to use the radar.
I think there might be a problem there because there has to be, the guns have to be checked monthly, and there's a discrepancy in the speed, 5 or 6 miles, and are the police going to go gung-ho?
I'll tell you what, though, you remember the old days, the best procedure was everybody thought we had 30 motorcycles on 12th Street, remember?
Yeah.
And in reality, what was there, John? Maybe 2 or 3?
I think there was 4.
Yeah, four motorcycles, but they
going west.
There was a terror that spread when you came from the west side of town remember the young people's watering holes in Mill Creek?
Oh, yeah.
Don't come over East Lake Road, Mill Creek will get you. Don't come over 12th Street, the city will get you. Man, the speed limits were down a little bit, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
And it was just a fear that they knew every once in a while they saw somebody get tagged.
Well, the problem with today is everybody wants to hurry up and get down to that next red light.
Yep.
Well, have a great day. I'll talk to
John.
you later.
Do you have another sign?
You too. Yep. On that note, I found one more at 13th and Sass. If anybody's seen any signs up on the poles that say Glitch Busters or We Buy Houses,
we're not,
let us know next week.
Well, we really don't do this, do we?
We're not advertising.
Well, we're not advertising, but...
If you see anything like that, let us know. I'll go get it.
My wife now, she's noticed them all over the place.
Keep an eye out. Give me street corners, and I'll go take them down. And on that note...
Then actually one person called me up and said, isn't the city breaking the law when they put their parking signs up on them too? I said, no. That's negotiated, but...
Yeah, that's negotiated.
There you go.
But hey, thanks for having us on again. It's been fun.
He keeps having more questions
You
unanswered.
didn't get to talk much at all. I feel so
Oh,
bad.
you guys are really going to town over
Well, no,
Off
this
the
week,
hook.
Yeah, but this week you were talking this week.
there's something about when
It's only gonna get
when you
worse.
guys show up, the phone rings like mad.
No, it was good.
It was good that we got that one answered about the $10 million. I'm glad.
Yeah, no.
I didn't know where you were coming from with that, but you know you're going to get more money out of it. I would try to figure where do they owe us $10 million?
You were there.
You
We
got to get
talked
together
about
with me so we can go through this stuff
beforehand.
Well, we have answers. Adios.
There it is. Yeah, but we talked about this shit probably first of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9.